Scene: a priest study. In tea, priest study, day. The coffee grows cold in a white porcelain cup as Father Michael watches raindrops trace paths down the presbytery window. 14 years have passed since that October Sunday, but the smell of melted wax and the echo of Elena Vasquez's desperate cries still haunt his dreams. Little Sophia, just 3 months old, vanished during her baptism, snatched from her mother's arms amidst the chaos following a sudden power outage at St. Anthony's Church. Michael runs a trembling finger over the scar that bisects his forehead, a physical reminder of that day when he tried to protect the child and was struck by something heavy in the darkness. The police never found any clues. Elena lost her mind with grief, committed to the Oak Haven Psychiatric Hospital 3 months later. Her husband, Carlos, moved to San Francisco, unable to bear the memories each cobblestone of that town held. The rain intensifies, drumming against the red-tiled roof of the convent. Michael lifts the cup to his lips, but the lukewarm liquid tastes like metal. A shiver runs down his spine as he notices his hands shaking uncontrollably. It's not the first time this has happened in recent weeks. Since turning 60, strange sensations have been overtaking his body. A burning in his chest, blurred vision, whispers that seem to come from nowhere. "Father Michael?" Sister Agnes's voice echoes from the hallway. "Someone is here to see you." The Shadow Mother, the entity they serve. She needs innocent blood to cross the veil between worlds. Elena turned to Michael, her eyes burning with a disturbing intensity. "Father, you were chosen from the beginning. Your faith, your innocence, your position in the community. They needed someone pure to consecrate the rituals." Michael felt nausea rising in his throat. For how long was I used? 3 years before Sophia's baptism, 12 complete rituals, 36 children. Elena closed her eyes as if the words caused physical pain. Sophia was to be the 37th, the last, the one who would definitively open the portal. "But she escaped," Sophia said. "The ritual wasn't completed." "No, but they haven't given up. They wait. They know you would return one day. They know the bond between mother and daughter is stronger than any magic." Elena held Sophia's arms tightly. "They want you back. They want to use you to complete what they started." "How do they know that?" "Because they've been watching me, always. Every doctor's visit, every medication, every conversation. There are people working for them here in the hospital." Elena looked around nervously. "They know you've come. They know you're going to try to stop them." At that moment, the hospital lights flickered and died. The corridor plunged into total darkness, broken only by the faint light coming from the windows. Screams echoed from other rooms, and the sound of running footsteps reverberated through the walls. "They're here," Elena whispered, her voice laced with terror. "They've come for her." Michael grabbed Sophia's arm. "We need to get out of here, now. I can't leave my mother." "You must go," Elena insisted. "You must run while you can. But remember, they won't stop. They'll never stop. The only way to end this is to destroy the altar, to break the cycle." Heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor, drawing closer. Michael could hear voices whispering in a language that sent shivers down his spine. Sophia looked at her mother, then at the priest, the agony of the decision etched on her face. "There's an exit through the back," Elena said quickly. "Through the kitchen. I know this place like the back of my hand." She picked up a piece of paper from the floor and handed it to Sophia. "This is a map of the catacombs. I drew it from memory over all these years. The main altar is in the center, but be careful. There are guards. There are always guards." The door to the room slowly creaked open, revealing a tall figure cloaked in a black hood. Michael couldn't see the face, but he could feel the eyes fixed on them. A deep, guttural voice emanated from beneath the hood, speaking in a language that sounded like clashing stones. "Run!" Elena yelled, shoving Sophia toward the window. "Run!" Michael and Sophia leapt out of the first-floor window, landing hard on the wet lawn. Behind them, they could hear Elena screaming, but it wasn't a scream of pain. It was a scream of defiance, of a mother protecting her daughter to the very end. They ran across the hospital grounds, the rain starting to fall again. Sophia clutched the paper with the map, shielding it against her chest. Michael felt his heart hammering in his chest, his weak legs protesting the exertion. "My car," he gasped, pointing towards the parking lot. "It's over there." They got into the vehicle, and Michael started the engine with trembling hands. In the rearview mirror, he could see hooded figures emerging from the hospital, moving with a coordination that suggested years of practice. "Where to?" he asked, flooring the accelerator. "St. Christopher's. We have to get there before them." Sophia unfolded the map, studying Elena's detailed drawings. "Look here, there's a secret entrance through the cemetery. We can reach the catacombs without going through the main church." They drove in silence for almost an hour, both lost in thought. Michael couldn't stop thinking about Elena, about how she had sacrificed herself to protect Sophia. And at the same time, he felt an overwhelming weight of guilt. 36 children, 36 lives he had inadvertently helped deliver to those monsters. "Father," Sophia said softly, "it wasn't your fault. They are masters of manipulation. They used your faith against you. How can you forgive me? How can anyone forgive me?" "Because now you have a chance to do the right thing, to save the children who can still be saved." Sophia looked out the window, watching the rural landscape pass by. "My adoptive mother told me there were other people like her, people who fought against the cult. Maybe there still are. Maybe we can find them. What if we can't destroy the altar? What if we're captured? So we at least tried. At least we won't live the rest of our lives knowing we could have done something and didn't." Sophia took his hand. "You saved me once, Father, 14 years ago, when you tried to protect me in that church. Now, let's save each other." They arrived in St. Christopher's as the sun began to set. The town was small and seemingly peaceful, with colonial houses and cobblestone streets. But Michael felt a sinister energy hanging in the air, as if the place itself were infected by decades of dark rituals. The old St. Christopher's Church stood atop a hill, its Gothic spires silhouetted against the orange sky. The cemetery sprawled down the hillside, with ancient tombstones and moss-covered mausoleums. According to Elena's map, the secret entrance was behind the Herrera family mausoleum, a black marble crypt with carved symbols that made Michael's eyes burn just looking at them. "Here," Sophia whispered, pointing to a slightly displaced stone slab. "Help me move this." Together, they managed to slide the heavy slab, revealing a stone staircase descending into darkness. A strong smell of dampness and decay rose from the hole, mixed with something sweeter and sickening that Michael recognized as burning incense. "There's a flashlight in the car. I'll get it." "No." Sophia held his arm. "We can't separate. Not now. We'll use my phone's light." They descended slowly down the staircase, the time-worn steps slippery under their feet. The walls were covered in a sticky substance that glowed faintly in the phone's light. Michael realized they were symbols, thousands of them, deeply carved into the stone and filled with what appeared to be dried blood. "Oh my God," he murmured. "How many rituals have been performed here?" "Many," Sophia replied, her voice strained. "Look, there are different engraving styles. Some are very old, others more recent. This place has been used for decades, maybe centuries." The tunnel opened into a larger chamber, partially lit by torches burning in iron brackets. In the center, there was a black stone altar, surrounded by concentric circles drawn on the floor with what was clearly blood. Around the altar, arranged in small niches carved into the wall, were personal belongings, baby clothes, toys, photographs. "The children's belongings," Sophia whispered, approaching one of the niches. "They keep trophies." Michael felt nauseous. Each object represented a life lost, a family destroyed, and he had been complicit in it all without even knowing. "We need to destroy the altar," he said, searching for something he could use as a hammer. "If we break the central stone, maybe we can stop the cycle." "It won't work that way," a voice said from behind them. They turned quickly. A figure stood at the tunnel entrance, an elderly woman dressed in simple clothes, leaning on a cane. Her eyes were kind, but there was something in them that suggested knowledge of terrible things. Who are you? Michael asked, placing himself protectively in front of Sophia. My name is Esperanza. Esperanza Morales. I was a friend of Carmen, Sophia's adoptive mother. The woman slowly walked toward them. I've been fighting this cult for over 20 years. How did you find us? When you visited Elena at the hospital, I was there. I volunteer, helping psychiatric patients. I've been watching Elena for years, hoping she would recover enough to help us. Esperanza looked at Sophia with a maternal expression. You've grown beautifully, my dear. Carmen would be proud. You knew my adoptive mother? We were partners. We saved you and 6 other children over the years. But we couldn't stop the rituals completely. We couldn't destroy the source of their power. Esperanza pointed to the altar. This altar isn't just stone. It's a focus, a point of convergence between our world and the realm of the Dark Mother. To destroy it, we need to make a sacrifice. What kind of sacrifice? Michael asked, though he already feared the answer. Innocent blood willingly offered, blood given out of love, not fear. It's the only thing that can purify the stone and close the portal permanently. Esperanza looked directly at Sophia. It has to be you, dear. You're the only one who can do it. No, Michael said immediately. I won't let another child be sacrificed in this place. It's not a child, Esperanza replied gently. It's a grown woman making a conscious decision. And it's not a sacrifice of death. It's a sacrifice of transformation. Sophia approached the altar, studying the inscriptions carved into the black stone. What would happen to me? You would become the guardian. Your soul would be bound to the altar, preventing it from being used for evil. You would live, but you would change. You wouldn't be fully human anymore. What if I don't do it? They will complete the 13th ritual. Feared the answer. Innocent blood willingly offered, blood given out of love, not fear. It's the only thing that can purify the stone and close the portal permanently. Esperanza looked directly at Sophia. It has to be you, dear. You're the only one who can do it. No, Michael said immediately. I won't let another child be sacrificed in this place. It's not a child, Esperanza replied gently. It's a grown woman making a conscious decision. And it's not a sacrifice of death. It's a sacrifice of transformation. Sophia approached the altar, studying the inscriptions carved into the black stone. What would happen to me? You would become the guardian. Your soul would be bound to the altar, preventing it from being used for evil. You would live, but you would change. You wouldn't be fully human anymore. What if I don't do it? They will complete the 13th ritual. That I always loved her. Sophia, go, Father. Go and live a good life. Go and help other people. Your penance is paid. Michael felt Esperanza pull him toward the exit. Reluctantly, he turned away, looking back until Sophia's golden light disappeared from view. They ran through the tunnel as the stones collapsed behind them, ascending the staircase until they emerged into the cemetery under the starlight. The night air had never felt so pure. Michael breathed deeply, feeling as if he were breathing for the first time in years. In the distance, he could see the old St. Christopher's Church, but now it looked different, cleansed, purified. Is it over? He asked, still not quite believing it. Yes, Esperanza replied, leaning heavily on her cane. The portal is closed. The rituals can no longer be performed. The children are safe. And Sophia? She chose the greatest sacrifice possible. She became immortal, but at the cost of her humanity. She will remain in the catacombs, guarding the altar, ensuring that evil never returns. Esperanza looked at Michael with compassion. She found her purpose, Father. She saved countless lives. In the days that followed, Michael returned to the hospital to see Elena. When he told her about Sophia's sacrifice, the woman cried. But they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of pride. Her mental state began to stabilize, and the doctors spoke of a possible discharge in a few months. She was always special, Elena said, holding Michael's hand. Even as a baby, I could feel she had a greater destiny. Now she's where she needs to be. Michael returned to his parish, but everything had changed. He could no longer celebrate Mass at St. Anthony's Church. The memories were too strong. He requested a transfer to a small rural community where he began working with orphans and needy families. But every night, he dreamed of Sophia. They weren't nightmares. They were visions of a young woman bathed in golden light, walking among the lost souls, offering comfort and protection. Sometimes, in his dreams, she spoke to him. "Thank you, Father," she would say, "for trying to protect me, for giving me the chance to choose my own destiny." "I should have done more," Michael would reply in his dreams. "You did exactly what you needed to do. Now keep doing it. Keep helping. Keep being an instrument of hope in the world." And so, every story you hear here has this transformative power. If you've reached this point in the narrative, if you felt the same emotional intensity that Michael and Sophia lived, then you know that stories like this can change our perspective on sacrifice, forgiveness, and redemption. If you want to continue receiving narratives that make you question, that make you feel deeply, that transport you to worlds where the impossible becomes possible, then subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Because stories like Sophia and Michael's need to be told, shared, lived by all of us. And only then, united by these powerful narratives, can we create our own golden light in the world. 6 months later, Michael received a letter with no return address. Inside, there was only a photograph of the old St. Christopher's Church, but now it was surrounded by a lush garden where there had once been only dry earth. On the back of the photo, a single sentence was written in feminine script. "Flowers grow where there is love." Michael knew immediately that Sophia had sent the photo. Somehow, from her realm between worlds, she had found a way to tell him she was all right, that her transformation had been worthwhile. He kept the photo in his Bible and continued his work, knowing that he was being watched over and protected by an angel who had once been a baby in his arms. A year later, Esperanza sought him out again. She had uncovered evidence of another cult operating in a distant town. More children were in danger. "I need your help, Father," she said. "We need to stop them before they begin the rituals." Michael looked at Sophia's photo on his desk, then at Esperanza. "When do we leave?" "Now." And so, Michael embarked on a new journey, carrying with him the memory of Sophia and the certainty that, somewhere between the light and the darkness, she would always be by his side, guiding his steps. In the catacombs of St. Christopher's, a luminous figure walked among the stones, protecting the altar that had once been used for evil. Sophia had found peace in her transformation, knowing that no more children would be sacrificed in that place. She had become legend, eternal guardian, a bridge between two worlds. And on the darkest nights, when lost children cried in distant places, a golden light briefly appeared, offering comfort and protection. Because true love never dies. It only transforms, something greater, something eternal. Father Michael continued his mission for many years, saving dozens of children, dismantling cults, bringing hope where there was only despair. And always, always, he could feel Sophia's presence beside him, his personal guardian, his spiritual daughter, his protective angel. When his time finally came to depart, at 83 years old, Michael died peacefully, knowing he had found his redemption. And the moment his eyes closed for the last time, he saw Sophia waiting for him, young and radiant, extending her hand to guide him home. "Welcome, Father," she said, smiling. "Now we can rest together." And so, the story of Sophia and Michael became legend, whispered in hospital corridors, told in orphanages, remembered whenever someone needed to believe that good can triumph over evil, that love can conquer fear, that sacrifice can bring salvation. Because some stories never truly end. They simply await the right moment to be told again, to touch new hearts, to inspire new heroes. And the story of Sofia Vasquez, the baby who disappeared at her baptism and became the eternal guardian, will continue to be told as long as there are children who need protection and adults willing to sacrifice everything for love. In the catacombs of St. Christopher's, the golden light still shines, reminding everyone that even in the darkest places, there is always hope, there is always love, there is always a chance for redemption. And Sophia waits, eternal and vigilant, protecting the children of the world, a guardian born of the purest love, forged in the noblest sacrifice, destined to shine forever among the shadows.